What is up, guys? So a couple years ago, I decided that I wanted to get into good shape and pursue weightlifting and get a good body. So I started watching a bunch of YouTube videos, and one thing I consistently found is that every single video I watched was very niche to one particular group. Like, I'd watch videos on how to get lean, but it'd be about specifically bodybuilding, or it'd be about, just something that I couldn't really relate to. It's not like I was trying to step on stage or anything like that. I just was an average guy. And so what I wanted to do in this video is make a really simple, straightforward, like how can the average guy get lean, get jacked, and look really, really good? Because if you clicked on this video, you're probably just a normal dude, just like me. I started off, I didn't have like amazing genetics or anything like that. I didn't come out looking like, an absolute giga chad or anything like that. I'm just a normal guy. And a matter of fact, when I started off, this is what I look like. So the good news is if I can do it as just a normal guy, it means that you also can too. So in today's video, I'll just show you exactly what I did and how I would do it, maybe a little bit differently if I were to do it over again, but just give you like the most straightforward, easy, simple playbook if you're just an average guy looking to get into good shape.
And just so you know, like I said earlier, I am just an average guy, just a normal dude. This is what I used to look like before I got into fitness and training. And as you can see, I just have a really mid physique, slightly overweight, not a whole lot of muscle mass. So yeah, the whole point of me showing you this is just to say, like, if you don't have amazing genetics, then get excited because anyone can do it. I'm really, really a big believer in the idea that anyone can get into good shape. It's not just people with good genetics. So that's why I like to show this. That's the whole point of this channel, is anyone can do it. But after several years of training and making lots of mistakes and doing some things right, I was able to completely transform my body. And so this is what I look like now after several years of training, dieting, and learning the proper principles of fitness. And so the whole point is that if I can do it, you definitely can too, and I'll explain how to do it in this video. All right, so I wanted to just start with the overview. There's so many different videos on YouTube, and a lot of it can seem pretty overwhelming and complex, but I just wanted to give you the simplest way to do it without all the overthinking. And the truth is that getting lean is actually really simple. So there's 3 things that I'm gonna cover here. And if you do these 3 things, I can pretty much guarantee that you're gonna be in good shape and look really good. So the first thing that we have to do, it's a non-negotiable, is we need to be weightlifting, especially if you're a young man, minimum 3 times a week. It's a non-negotiable. I hear a lot of guys who start off in fitness kind of trying to work around weightlifting without actually having to do it, but still trying to get in good shape. It's not gonna work. If you want to look good, if you wanna be aesthetic, if you want to get lean and genuinely look good, weightlifting is part of the equation. But the good news is that you really only need to do about 30 to 45 minutes per session. You don't need to be in there for 2 or 3 hours or anything like that. Just if you get in there for about 30 minutes, 3 times a week, you'll be good. The other thing I hear too is a lot of excuses around this. People saying they don't have the time. Look, this whole channel is to skip the BS and just tell you exactly what things are. You do have the time. If something is important to you, you make the time for it. I'm a really busy person. I have a lot going on, but I'm still able to make the time for it. And if you're someone who's already weightlifting, you know that that's true. If you genuinely find something valuable and important, you make the time for it. So make the time for weightlifting. If that means waking up an hour earlier, make it a part of your schedule. You have the time. The second thing that we want to do is eliminate processed foods and processed sugars. This is a huge part. I firmly believe this would fix 90% of people's problems. A good way to think about it, if it's not something that people would have been eating all throughout history, then don't eat it. Your ancestors did not have access to McDonald's, so don't eat that kind of stuff. So then the next question you might ask is, so what should I eat? Well, the simplest diet for health, in my opinion, is first and foremost, eating a lot of animal meat, especially red meat, which is super high in micronutrients. Your vitamins, minerals, that kind of stuff, has a lot of protein and a lot of healthy fats. And I would also include eggs in this category as well. The second thing is fruit and honey. This will be your carb source. This is the kind of healthy sugars that you want. Yes, there is a difference in quality of sugars. Eating a chocolate chip cookie is going to do different things to your body than eating a bunch of fruit. And then I also think that dairy, unless you're lactose intolerant, is a really, really good option for people. Things like whole milk, cheese, it's got a lot of healthy fats, and it's got protein in it too. in terms of simplicity, that's pretty much it. If you eat that stuff and work out, I can pretty much guarantee that you're going to look pretty damn good. All right, so now I want to show you guys what I did versus how I would do it now, because there are definitely some differences that I would make if I could go back in time and start from the very beginning. So first off, this is what I did, which I wouldn't necessarily recommend. This was my starting point, right? Like we talked about, pretty mid physique, very, very average physique, slightly overweight, not a whole lot of muscle mass. What I did was I went on the craziest super bulk you've ever seen and got pretty damn fat, but also gained a lot of muscle, because when you're in a calorie surplus, that's the most anabolic time. I put on a lot of fat, but I gained a lot of muscle. So gained that muscle, and then pretty much from there, I had to spend the next several years cutting down. And so this is kind of what my progression looked like. You can see lots of muscle, lots of body fat, slowly chipping away at the body fat, still chipping away at the body fat, still chipping away at the body fat. So finally, I got pretty lean. It's a way of doing it. It's not very fun to have to spend several years cutting, but that's what I did. And it worked in a way, but I definitely wouldn't do it this way again. All right, so here's how I would do it now. What I would do if I was starting from the very beginning is I would simply focus on switching to an unprocessed, high-protein, animal-based diet like we talked about earlier. I would also then train at least 3 to 5 times a week, specifically weightlifting. And then I would prioritize a consistent, high-quality sleep schedule. So that means getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night, plus going to bed and waking up at the same time. And then I really wouldn't enter a dedicated bulk period since I started off overweight. Now, if you're underweight, that's a different story, but this video is how to get lean. So we're assuming that the starting point is a person who is overweight. So I really wouldn't even think about bulking starting off. So I think that if you just switch over to an unprocessed high protein animal diet and you just consistently work out, you'll see a much steadier, more linear path of progress. And so this is what the optimal progression would have looked like. It's not what it actually looked like, but if I was following what I just laid out right now, this is more what it would look like. You can see that starting off overweight, losing fat, but also gaining muscle at the same time, fat slowly chipping away, also gaining muscle, and then finally ending where we are now. So I think it would take a lot less time, and I also think it would be a much more sustainable route. All right, and then lastly, I just wanted to cover the kind of mindset that we want to have during this process. So you have to realize that you can't look different than most people if you're not willing to do things that most people won't do. If everyone could do it, or if everyone thought it was easy to do, then everyone would look the way that we want to look. But most people don't, because it's just they're not willing to do it. So be prepared for discomfort. Discomfort is a component of growth. I don't think you can have growth without discomfort, actually. And realize that slow and steady wins the race. I didn't get to where I was overnight. I didn't go from being overweight and not having muscle mass to being jacked and lean overnight. Just be patient with yourself. Understand that there's a process. And in that process, you build up resources in your mindset, and you just overall become a better, more disciplined version of yourself. And lastly, but I would say really important part of this is leave space for grace for yourself. Nothing ever goes perfect. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to mess up. You're going to learn. Trust me, I did. My progression was not linear, believe me. I had to make a lot of mistakes. That's just part of being human. So if you do make a mistake, be okay with that. Understand that you're a human being and just get back on the wagon the next day. But anyways, I hope this video was helpful. And if you liked it, make sure you subscribe and leave a like. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.